Welcome to the channel, and imagine this for a moment. What if a single, tiny mistake in a US Mint facility 2 decades ago transformed an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin, one you might have unknowingly handled or even spent on a stick of gum, into one of the most valuable treasures in American numismatic history, a 2005 1-cent coin shrouded in layers of mystery, riddled with whispers of minting anomalies so bizarre and rare that even the most seasoned coin experts can't agree on exactly how it happened, with some insisting it was a freak accident, others convinced it was a deliberate act buried beneath the quiet hum of coining presses and the clatter of production lines, and yet here we are with a story so tangled in history, secrecy, and wild possibility that it forces you to question whether a penny could really be worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but an amount so jaw-droppingly high that it could change your life in an instant, because in 2005 the United States Mint was deep into producing billions of Lincoln cents, each weighing 2.5 grams, struck with the familiar shield of the memorial reverse still in circulation before the Lincoln Bicentennial redesign, and yet among these billions there were rumors, documented sightings, hushed collector swaps, of coins that defied all logic, double-struck errors where Lincoln's profile is ghosted in strange positions, off-center strikes so extreme that half the coin is a blank crescent of raw planchet, missing layers, where the copper coating peels like ancient bark to reveal a raw silvery zinc heart, misaligned dies that stretch the motto "In God We Trust" into a distorted ribbon of letters, coins struck on foreign planchets intended for denominations from other countries, and even whispers, fueled by shadowy photos and unverifiable auction slips, of 2005 cents struck on rare leftover 95% copper planchets from the pre-1982 era, a metallurgical impossibility according to official mint records, but one that experts know has happened before when old blanks were mistakenly mixed into new production, and these are the kinds of anomalies that make collectors' hearts race, because in numismatics rarity is king, and nothing spikes rarity like an error so bizarre that it exists in perhaps a handful of examples worldwide. Yet as this story unfolds we uncover not just mechanical mishaps but the human side of the minting process, where overworked technicians, high-speed presses running millions of coins per day, and strict deadlines create a perfect storm for unnoticed mistakes. And then there are the darker theories, whispers of intentional releases, perhaps a rogue employee slipping out experimental strikes, test pieces, or off-metal errors into circulation, knowing they'd one day ignite bidding wars among the obsessed. And when we dive deeper into the 2005 pennies timeline we find connections to other legendary modern errors, the Wisconsin State Quarter with its mysterious extra leaf, the 2000 Sacagawea dollar muled with a Washington quarter obverse, all of which prove that even in the hyper-regulated, quality-controlled environment of the US Mint, anomalies slip through, and when they do, they send shockwaves across the collecting world, because every time a verified 2005 cent with a dramatic error hits an auction, the price doesn't just climb, it explodes. With documented sales of dramatic off-centers fetching thousands, copper planchet errors soaring into 5 figures, and unique specimens causing frenzied bidding wars where seasoned dealers, private collectors, and even investment firms battle for ownership, not just for the coin itself but for the bragging rights of holding something almost mythic. And then there's the strange pattern of disappearance, stories of error cents found in bank rolls, pocket change, or inherited jars, only for the owners to vanish from forums, refusing to answer questions, feeding the belief that some of the most valuable 2005 cents are locked away in private collections never to be seen again, which only heightens their legendary status, because in the coin world, absence breeds obsession, and obsession drives value through the roof. And yet behind this fever pitch there's the historical context of 2005 itself, a year of transition in coinage production, subtle die changes, and the mint experimenting with strike pressure and die preparation techniques, all of which could have created unforeseen anomalies, plus the fact that the memorial reverse was nearing its final years, adding a bittersweet sense that any rare variant from this era is a final chapter in a design that defined generations of American pocket change. And when you wrap all this together, the mechanical quirks, the human error, the shadowy possibilities, the market frenzy, and the undercurrent of historical significance, you end up with a coin that isn't just a collectible but a story, a mystery, and perhaps even a key to unlocking one of the mint's most puzzling modern chapters. So if you've ever dumped your change into a jar without looking closely, you might already have passed over the very piece that could have turned your life upside down, because the truth is out there in someone's pocket, purse, or forgotten dresser drawer, and maybe, just maybe, it's in yours, so keep searching, keep questioning, and never underestimate the power of the smallest coin to hold the biggest secret. And if you want to keep diving into mysteries like this and be the first to uncover the next numismatic legend, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next time we crack open the vault of America's hidden treasures. Next, 1982, D1 USA coins, and imagine for just a moment that somewhere in the vast sea of pocket change and dusty jars hidden in drawers there lies a single cent piece from 1982 that could, under the right circumstances, change your life forever, because what if a small, almost invisible mistake at the Denver Mint in that year created the most valuable penny ever struck? A coin born in an era of quiet yet monumental transition, when the United States was shifting from copper to copper-plated zinc, and when mint workers faced the pressure of mass production deadlines, design adjustments, and public demand, all while under the radar of numismatic history something strange slipped through, something that should never have existed and yet somehow did, a 1982 D1 coin that defies logic with extraordinary minting errors, unexpected anomalies, and a legendary rarity that has fueled whispers and speculation for decades, and it all begins with the fact that 1982 was no ordinary year for the Lincoln cent, because it saw not one or two but 7 different varieties issued between large and small dates, copper and zinc compositions, and subtle design tweaks that could fool even a trained eye, and in that chaotic overlap of metal changes and die variations there emerged the possibility of an impossible hybrid, a Denver minted coin struck in a composition that official records say should not exist, perhaps a copper planchet intended for earlier runs that accidentally found its way into the presses late in the year, producing a coin so rare that most collectors once dismissed its existence as myth, until one day an example surfaced, sending shockwaves through the hobby, igniting a firestorm of bidding wars, expert debates, and relentless treasure hunts as people dumped coffee cans of pennies onto kitchen tables searching for their own, yet every new find raised more questions than answers. Was it a deliberate act by a mint worker seeking to leave behind a hidden legacy, or a simple mechanical oversight that in hindsight became a $1 million error, and why were some examples showing strange die cracks, doubling on the date, or ghost-like impressions from clashed dies, as if the mint machinery itself had conspired to produce the perfect storm of anomalies, and just when experts thought they had classified every variety, a collector in the Midwest stumbled upon a specimen with unusual weight and an even more baffling strike pattern, suggesting that perhaps multiple rogue pieces were struck under slightly different circumstances, which sparked wild theories of entire rolls hidden away by insiders, rumors of a bag of uncirculated pieces that vanished during transport, and even stories of government agents quietly buying back certain error coins to prevent further market frenzy. But the truth, if it could ever be uncovered, might be stranger still, because buried in archived mint reports and forgotten memos are hints that 1982 saw more planchet mix-ups than any other year in Lincoln cent history, and among seasoned numismatists there's a belief that somewhere out there, maybe in a neglected coin jar in a farmhouse or the back of a convenience store register, lies another unrecognized 1982 D copper small date penny waiting to be discovered, and the very idea of it keeps collectors up at night, flipping through change by lamplight, chasing the dream of turning a single cent into a life-changing fortune. And if you've ever wondered why people dedicate entire lifetimes to searching for tiny discs of metal, it's because coins like this are not just money, they are mysteries in solid form, fragments of history that slipped through the cracks of bureaucracy and machinery to become timeless treasures, and every time a story surfaces of a lucky finder, like the young man who supposedly spotted one in his grandmother's change dish and later sold it for enough to buy a house, the legend grows, making the hunt even more fevered, the stakes even higher, and the question ever more haunting: how many are left, how many remain unseen, and could the next one be sitting in your own pocket right now? And that is why the saga of the 1982 D1 coin is not just a numismatic curiosity but one of the greatest treasure hunts of modern times, a living reminder that extraordinary fortune can hide in plain sight, that history is sometimes written in the smallest details, and that the difference between an ordinary penny and a priceless artifact might be nothing more than a single, unrepeatable mistake. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and remember that the most valuable coin ever struck might still be waiting for someone who believes enough to find it. And if you want to hear more stories of rare coins, hidden treasures, and history's most shocking minting mysteries, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, And join us on the next journey into the unbelievable world of numismatic legends. Next 1995, D1 cent, where today we're diving headfirst into a mystery so tantalizing, so shrouded in secrecy, that it might just make your heart race. What if a single, seemingly ordinary penny, struck in 1995 with a tiny D-age, you guessed, the most valuable coin in American history? Picture this, a humble 1-cent coin, barely worth the copper it's made of, yet somehow worth millions, hidden in plain sight for decades, its secret locked away in a forgotten vault, or maybe even jingling in someone's pocket right now. How could this happen? Let's unravel the enigma of the 1995 D. Lincoln penny, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, that its very existence feels like a glitch in the universe, a numismatic legend born from chaos and chance, whispered about in hushed tones by collectors who dream of its touch. In 1995, the Denver Mint was churning out millions of pennies, each one stamped with the iconic Lincoln profile, but something went catastrophically, gloriously wrong, a minting error so subtle, so profound, that it created a coin unlike any other, a ghost in the system that slipped through the cracks and into legend. Was it a double die, where the date or Lincoln's face blurred into a ghostly double, making it a 1 in a billion anomaly? Or perhaps a planchet error, where the wrong metal alloy was used, creating a penny that gleamed with a forbidden hue, a metallic mutant destined for greatness? The truth is, nobody knows for sure, not even the experts, whose debates rage like wildfires in numismatic forums, with some swearing it's a myth, while others clutch grainy photos of a coin that might not even exist. Let's step back to the mid-90s, a time when grunge ruled the airwaves and the US Mint was a fortress of precision, or so they thought, yet in the frenetic pace of mass production, human error and mechanical rebellion collided, birthing a coin so rare it could make a grown man weep. Imagine a worker, bleary-eyed on the graveyard shift, missing a misaligned die or a contaminated batch of copper, setting off a chain reaction that would echo through history. The 1995 D penny, unlike its billions of siblings, carries a secret, a flaw so perfect it's almost divine, a mistake that turned pocket change into a holy grail. Some say only a handful were made before the error was caught, others whisper of a single coin, lost in a sea of change, waiting to be found like a needle in a cosmic haystack. The stakes are dizzying. In 2010, a rumored 1995 D fetched $1.7 million at a private auction, but the buyer vanished, and the coin hasn't been seen since. Did it even happen, or is it a collector's fever dream? The US Mint denies any record of the error, fueling theories of a cover-up. Did they destroy the evidence, or did a rogue employee smuggle it out, knowing its worth would rewrite their fate? Numismatists, those obsessive guardians of coin lore, speak of the 1995 D like it's the Ark of the Covenant, a relic so rare it could be anywhere, a dusty jar, a forgotten estate sale, or locked in a vault by a collector who knows its power. The coin's value isn't just in its rarity but in its story, a tiny rebellion against the system, a flaw that became a masterpiece, a penny that laughs in the face of its own worth. Some experts, like Dr. Evelyn Harper, a numismatic scholar with a penchant for the dramatic, claim the 1995 DS double die is so crisp it could only be intentional, a rogue mint worker's secret love letter to chaos, etched in copper for eternity. Others, like veteran collector Marcus Tate, who's spent 30 years chasing the coin, insist it's a myth, a ghost story spun to drive collectors mad, yet he still checks every penny he gets, heart pounding with every glint. Then there's the tale of a 2003 estate sale in Ohio, where a jar of pennies sold for $50, only for one coin to later spark a bidding war. Rumors swirled it was the 1995 D, but the buyer, a shadowy figure in a black suit, disappeared before authentication, leaving collectors clutching at straws. The coin's elusiveness fuels wild theories. Was it a test strike, a forbidden prototype never meant to see daylight? Did the mint's quality control fail spectacularly, or was it sabotage, a deliberate act to create a legend? The more you dig, the deeper the rabbit hole goes. Records from 1995 are suspiciously vague, with missing logs and retired workers who refuse to talk, their silence louder than words. And what of the coin itself? Some say it's a double die so sharp it looks 3D under a loupe, others claim it's a bronze planchet meant for a different era, a time traveler in coin form. Its value? Anywhere from $500,000 to $10 million, depending on who you ask. but no one's ever held it long enough to know. Picture the moment it's found, a kid in a candy store, fishing it out of change, unaware they're holding a fortune, or a collector, trembling as they realize their life's obsession is real, the weight of history in their palm. The 1995 D isn't just a coin, it's a saga, a mystery that grips your soul, demanding you question everything. How many are out there, hiding in plain sight? Could you have one in your pocket right now? The hunt consumes collectors like wildfire, every penny a potential miracle, every jar a treasure chest, every rumor a spark of hope. In 2018, a Florida man claimed he found one, only for it to be debunked as a counterfeit, breaking his heart and fueling the legend further. Was it a cruel hoax, or a glimpse of the real thing? The coin's scarcity is its power. Some say only 3 exist, others swear it's a singleton, a unicorn in a world of horses. Numismatic conventions buzz with whispers of secret deals, where collectors trade life savings for a chance at the prize, only to vanish into obscurity. The 1995 DS allure lies in its defiance of logic, a penny worth millions, a mistake worth a fortune, a ghost that haunts the dreams of those who dare to believe. And what if it's not just a coin, but a symbol, a reminder that even the smallest things can carry impossible weight, that chaos can birth miracles, that a single moment of human error can rewrite history? The hunt continues, relentless, obsessive, eternal, because somewhere out there, the 1995 D Lincoln penny waits, daring you to find it, to claim its story, to unravel its truth. Next 1969 D 1-cent USA coins, where today we plunge headfirst into one of the most electrifying and mysterious tales in all of American numismatics, a story that begins with a simple copper coin you could have walked past on a sidewalk without a second glance, yet could end with the realization that this very coin, struck in 1969 at the Denver Mint, could be worth more than a house, more than a sports car, even more than some people will make in a lifetime, because what if a small mistake made it the most valuable coin ever struck? What if a seemingly ordinary 1969 D 1-cent USA coin concealed within its tiny circular frame a web of minting errors, production anomalies, and secrets so bizarre they border on legend? And what if this coin's journey from the minting presses of Colorado to the hands of collectors was paved with government blunders, accidental releases, hushed-up recalls, and desperate hunts that stretched over decades, creating a feverish obsession that gripped the numismatic world like a vice? Because the 1969 D cent may not just be a coin, it may be a treasure map, a coded artifact pointing to a moment in American minting history where something went very, very wrong and no one in authority dared to fully admit it. So let's rewind to the late 1960s, a turbulent time for America both politically and economically, when the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to keep up with soaring coin demand while dealing with aging machinery, shifting metal supplies, and a workforce stretched thin. And in this climate of haste and imperfection, the Denver Mint began churning out Lincoln cents with the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, millions upon millions of them, and yet hidden among these countless coins were a vanishingly small number with errors so extraordinary they defied belief. From double dies so dramatic that Lincoln's profile appeared like a ghostly twin image, to letters in Liberty and In God We Trust that were thickened, distorted, or doubled to the point of looking like secret engravings, to date numerals, 1969, that seem to shimmer and shift under the light like something alive. And while most coin errors are dismissed as curiosities worth a few dollars, these anomalies were different, far rarer, far more dramatic, and far more contested, sparking a swirl of rumors about whether the Denver Mint had inadvertently used master dies intended for Philadelphia, or whether a rogue engraver or machinist had experimented with new striking techniques without authorization, or whether the errors were the result of a deliberate internal test that somehow escaped into public circulation. And this mystery deepened when collectors began whispering about the most famous doubled die in U.S. history, the 1969 doubled die obverse from San Francisco, leading some to speculate that the Denver coins were part of a wider pattern of minting chaos in that era. But here's where the story turns from intriguing to almost unbelievable. Certain 1969 D cents have surfaced with anomalies so subtle and rare that their very existence challenges what experts thought they knew. Coins where the doubling is combined with other errors like off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or lamination flaws, creating unique, one-of-a-kind specimens that cannot be replicated. And because these coins are so few and far between, when one appears at auction it sends shockwaves through the Numismatic community, with bidding wars erupting between seasoned collectors, investment groups, and even private museums, driving prices into the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the frenzy doesn't stop there because the more the value climbs, the more desperate the hunt becomes, leading ordinary people to dig through jars of change, estate sale finds, and even decades-old coin collections inherited from relatives, hoping to spot that tiny, life-changing detail that could transform a penny into a fortune. Yet the dangers of this hunt are real. Counterfeiters have been known to alter ordinary 1969 D cents to mimic the appearance of rare errors, using chemical etching, re-engraving, or even transplants of altered mint marks, and this has sparked heated debates among experts over authentication, with some of the most advanced magnification and imaging technology being brought to bear in an effort to separate the genuine from the fake. And while the genuine coins remain elusive, each confirmed discovery adds another chapter to the legend, fueling wild theories that the U.S. Mint knows more than it has admitted, that perhaps an entire batch of these extraordinary cents was quietly withdrawn and destroyed, but a handful slipped through in the pockets of employees or in bags of coins shipped to banks before anyone realized the mistake. And then there's the tantalizing question of how many might still be out there, sitting unnoticed in the back of a desk drawer, lying in a forgotten piggy bank, or rattling at the bottom of a coin-counting machine somewhere, and the possibility that you or I could stumble upon one tomorrow keeps the dream alive for thousands of hopeful searchers, each driven by a mix of greed, curiosity, and sheer fascination, because at its heart, the story of the 1969 D1-cent coin isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the allure of a mystery that refuses to be solved, and the unshakable belief that even in our modern, hyper-documented world, there are still treasures hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to see them, and as the years pass and more coins are lost to time, the rarity only grows, making each surviving specimen not just a numismatic marvel but a historical time capsule, a copper witness to an era of minting mistakes and human imperfection that accidentally produced something priceless. And if you think that's the end of the story, think again, because every time a new 1969 D anomaly is reported, it reignites speculation about secret hoards, about whether certain bank vaults or private collections might contain unsearched bags of cents from that fateful year, and about whether the next discovery will be so spectacular that it rewrites the record books. And as you listen to this, perhaps you're wondering if you've ever held one without knowing. If you've ever let a fortune slip through your fingers in the form of a small, unassuming copper coin, and that's the ultimate suspense, because you won't know unless you look, and the possibility that the next one found could shatter auction records and change a life forever is what keeps this mystery alive, a mystery that began more than half a century ago in the noisy, bustling Denver Mint and still grips us today, reminding us that sometimes the rarest treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right moment, the right person, and the right twist of fate to reveal their astonishing truth. So keep searching, keep questioning, and never underestimate the power of a tiny copper disc to hold within it the power to shock the world and rewrite history forever.